rev up your engines for the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast with Big E. Proudly sponsored by Christensen Law, where bikers helping engine bikers is more than just a motto. It's our commitment to the biker community. Be sure to tune in and listen to the latest news and biker buzz. And for all your personal injury needs, be sure to contact the Christensen Law team at 248-900-9000. What's up, bikers? It's Big E, and you're listening to the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast. We're talking all things bikes, the freedom of the road, and the brotherhood that makes this lifestyle what it is. From killer tips to wild stories from the highway, we've got it all right here. Life is short, bikers, so let's get after it. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. So this is going to be my second installment into my 10-part series on the Wyld Stallions motorcycle build featuring all the builders. This week in studio is Harley, the podcast pup. But joining us via telephone is Frank Grimes from Defiance, Ohio. How's it going, Frank?
Oh, not bad. Not bad at all.
All right. So this is your second Wyld Stallions build?
Yes.
And you've got a target on your back because you won it last year, didn't you?
Yeah. Me and Derek kind of have a thing going back and forth this year. I don't know between me and him if anybody else really matters. If we're just out to beat each other, I really don't know. But it was a lot of fun last year. Looking forward to it this year, just because we got the group chat going on, and it's just
is there some smack talking going on in there? Is there some smack
a little bit here and there? That seems like it gets a little better further on down as we get closer to time. Yeah.
So are all the builders in that chat?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. So the gentleman I just talked to, he's in there. Interesting. He's One Kick Nick.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's new this year.
Yeah. He's got some interesting ideas. I'm stoked to see these bikes in person. And you won it last year, and your bike is featured on the February cover of the coveted Thunder Roads magazine of Michigan.
Yes.
My favorite issue, just because if you open it up and go to page 3, it says, Meet Big E, Michigan Biker Podcast. So I recently joined the Thunder Roads of Michigan team, so they had to do a little intro story on me. So
okay.
I've known RJ for a couple of years now. Great guy.
I finally got to meet him last year up at Owasso. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Good dude. So let's talk a little bit about your lineage, your heritage, what got you into this? How long have you been building bikes?
We kicked this off, but Dad actually kind of started it. In 2019, I think. He's always wanted an old chopper. Since way back, it sounded like. And he ended up, we have some friends up in the South Haven area, Michigan, and they were cleaning out the property they had up there. And the lady said, "Hey, we got a bunch of motorcycle stuff. If you guys want it, just come get it." And there was an old shovel head frame in one of the old barns up there. And Dad brought it home, found out what it was, and 2-3 months later, he cut it apart and started building kind of his dream bike, if you will. And then I started realizing that, all right, we have the capabilities to do this here. And then it just kind of unfolded from there.
Very cool. Very cool. So this is your second year.
Yes.
Obviously, yeah, you got the target on your back, being the big winner last year. Everybody's gunning for you. So we'll jump right into this, and we'll probably squirrel because we tend to do that on this podcast.
Okay.
I got 10 questions that I'm asking every builder. So we'll start. What's your initial vision for your build, and how do you see it evolving?
The one for this year, it's I'm shooting for a long 70s bike with a little bit of a Munsters twist thrown in there, kind of. It's going to be, I'm doing a few things that are pretty unique. Might be a little off the wall. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Cool.
I know I've already cut some stuff off of it that I didn't like. So.
Yeah, I looked at some of your stuff on Facebook. You do not have an Instagram, I don't believe.
No, I do not.
No? Yeah, I looked at some of your Facebook stuff. I see you got the frame, and you're working on that. And so, what inspired your theme or style for this year's bike?
I wanted to do something a little different, something to kind of push my comfort zone a little bit. And one thing I've always thought was cool was the old plunger frames from back in the day. And I was able to get one last year, and they're hard to find for a big twin Harley. You can find a lot of them for like the Hondas and stuff. Those are easy to find, it seems like. But I was able to pick one up, like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So it sat here for a while. And then I was actually going to do something different this year for the build off. And then I'm like, you know what? We're going to do that plunger frame. Like, all right, well, let's see if I can stretch one out, and because we have a relatively short amount of time to do this. So I decided to go all in and stretch a frame, rake a frame. Essentially, it built half the frame because you cut half of it off. But.
Right. All right. So obviously, the first part of the build that you're focusing on is the frame. Why is that? Just
that's your starting point. I mean, in my mind, that's everything goes around that. You can't put a fender on until you have a frame done, or you can't put a gas tank on if there's no backbone to put a gas tank on. But it's, in my mind, I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this stuff, but that's always kind of what I've started to do. You get the frame done, and then that's kind of your foundation to build up from there.
Right. And that seems logical to me. I mean, having absolutely positively no bike building experience at all, I did watch a lot of TV shows, though. It would seem that I would probably do the same thing and start with a frame. So how do you approach planning and sketching out your ideas before the build?
So I don't officially have a blueprint for anything really, other than my gas tank. I did sketch out my gas tank this year. I'm going to do something kind of not off the shelf, but I'll just get something in my head and start cutting and welding pretty much.
So you don't have like a crack computer programmer building your
no.
All right, yeah. That seems to be kind of the way it should be done. I almost think. Me and one of my buddies used to do some pretty wild projects back in the day, and
okay,
it was always like we took a Honda Odyssey and we're putting a 650 motor in it, and
Oh, wow.
just crazy stuff like that, And it was always there was no plan. It was just let's make it work.
Yeah, this is where
Start
I want
cutting
to
and
end up.
welding,
So
and
let's get there, kind of thing. Yeah.
when we get to the next problem, we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yep. I'm already fighting that part of it. It's going to be the sissy bar. I'm going to do something pretty wild with that, and I'm already getting a few curveballs from it.
Oh, all right. So, do you have any specific materials or techniques you're excited to experiment with this year?
I've used a lot more aluminum this year than I have before, just because, well, it's lightweight, it's easy to work with. From a cost aspect, it's relatively cheap, depending on, I got some stuff here I made some taillights out of that wasn't so much, but I mean, that was pretty big size block material. But I'm gonna try to mess around with the metal bending a little bit. Usually I just cut and weld, that kind of thing, but I want to see. I've never successfully been able to bend two pieces of metal the same. It's just never worked out for me, but I want to see if I can figure that out this year.
Oh, all right. So, what is one feature or concept you're determined to include in your final design?
It's
a tough one.
That's a good one. I'm gonna try to do something a little different. I might.
Definitely going to be something with the frame. Awesome.
Yes, gonna try to do something. It's not gonna be crazy off the wall, out of this world or anything like some of the stuff my dad's done, but just something that just kind of a little wow factor. Like, okay, I haven't seen that before, kind of thing.
Cool. I'll be interested to see that. How do you prioritize functionality versus aesthetics at this early stage in the build?
It's about a 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to go down the road. I want to ride it. I want to enjoy it, but it's got to look cool at the same time.
Right.
I did do something on my blue bike, and unfortunately that one's no more. I ended up crashing that end of last summer.
I saw those pictures too.
And that was a best case scenario for a worst case thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I walked away from it without any injuries, but
right.
It's still kind of a bum deal. But I did a few things on that where it's like, all right, this is cool, but it's just not safe.
Right.
So when it comes to that point, I'm not going to jeopardize my safety over something that, well, it looks cool, so I got to have it.
Right. So is there anything you have learned from past builds that you're going to apply to this one from the start?
I'm going to beef up a few things for like fender mounts on the frame. That was ultimately what led to the crash of the blue bike. There was some tabs on that frame that just weren't, and it was an aftermarket frame. I didn't do anything there, but they just weren't real beefy. And that's what ended up breaking. And that caused the whole thing. So it's like, all right, so something like that, we're going to make it a little bigger, a little heavier, something that'll take a little more abuse, if you will.
Right. Cool. Sounds like you've learned a few lessons then.
Yeah, a couple few.
And you're one of those. Sounds like you're one of those guys that you build it, you're going to ride it, you're not going to build it and let it sit there and look pretty.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do. I have a friend, and he's kind of my go-to guy if I need something close by. I've actually bought a few bikes from him, actually my bike for last year's build came from him, or what little bit of it that I got from him was left. He's built some really cool stuff. but it just sets in a shop. It sets in a showroom there, and it looks cool. But like, at what point is it not fun? Don't get me wrong. I like coming out to the shop here and looking at all the cool stuff out here. But weather gets warm. It's on the road. We get it out. We enjoy it.
Yeah, that's kind of the point, I would think.
That's where we're at with it.
So, last question. Are you ready?
Okay.
What's the most exciting part of starting a new build for you?
Just watching it all come together. I guess it's not so much an initial thing, but it's like, all right, I have this idea. And then, a ways down the road, as you start to see this idea come to life, it's a really rewarding experience. That's the best way I can put it. It's just, you have this, I'm going to make this, I'm going to create this cool thing. And then when it actually happens, it's like, you got to stand back for a second, like, wow, this is really something.
All right. So there you go. There's some pretty good answers there. So now we're gonna talk a little biker stuff.
Okay.
What are you currently riding?
Right now, nothing, because it's cold outside.
Well, duh. Smart ass.
Unfortunately, I wish it was 70 degrees.
Right, me too. Heck with the snow and shit.
The last bike that I rode, end of December, we had a warm day and we got out. We didn't go very far, but my dad was lucky enough to pick up an old Survivor chopper from back in the day, an old Knucklehead.
Oh, nice.
And we had that out, and we had my 76 out, the bike that I wanted to build off with. And just went for a little cruise. That's the last bike I rode.
What one's your daily? Or don't you have one?
Well, I do. I kind of switch off and on. There for a while, that blue hardtail was my daily rider.
Right.
And then my red bike from the build last year, that's a daily-ish rider. It's not exactly comfortable, but I can make it back and forth to work all right on it.
Right.
Definitely didn't build that one for comfort, but if I'm gonna go on a long cruise or something, I got an 04 Night Train. That's kind of my go-to for longer distances.
Right. Not a big bagger guy or anything like that.
No, we're nothing. Not saying anything bad about them, but we're kind of anti-bagger around here.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I get it.
It's just not our style.
Not what you're into. Yeah, that's cool. So any other build competitions you've been in and bike shows or anything like that lately?
This is just the only one I've ever done, and I haven't really. Kind of new to this, actually. Just started off, within the last 5-6 years into this whole adventure. But
right.
This was the first build off I'd ever been in, and I kind of wondered if I maybe got in over my head a little bit last year, and then just decided to have fun with it, and that's kind of where I am this year. I'm just here to have fun. That's all it is.
Right. Yeah. Now, I thought it was you I saw had your red bike at a bike show.
Yes. Yep. It's been to a few other shows besides the one in Owasso. We went to one Labor Day weekend. I took it up there. If it's a local ride-in show, we generally take something cool, and that's kind of been my super cool bike this year when I got it done. We just had it down at the Garage Brood show 2 weekends ago. Yep. That was a really cool experience. That was one of the first, not really the first, but one of the first kind of, you walk in, your bike's up on the stage. That's kind of a cool feeling.
I can imagine.
And then I'm trying to think when it was, end of August last year, there's a show up in Michigan, up in Detroit. It's the Dam Show, Detroit's Antique Motorcycle Show.
Yeah.
And we actually met Detroit Randy out at Sturgis last year and was talking to him. And he says, send me some pictures of your bikes and we'll see. And we got the invite to go up there, and that was a pretty cool thing. The the atmosphere of that show was just, it's something to be experienced. It's just real cool, laid back. After the show, everybody went on a ride. I didn't make the whole ride. I ended up breaking a push rod, so that was
Oh,
that was fun. But yeah, that was just a really neat venue, a really neat show to go to. We're actually hoping we can go back this year.
yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that one out. Actually, I have not been. Actually, I'm next weekend. I'm headed up to Milwaukee for Mama Tried. Have you
I
been to
put
that?
in for that, and I didn't get never been to it. I didn't get the invite. I got vacation time in at work, and I'm still debating on running up just to check it out because, why not?
Right, right.
I don't know if I'll make it there or not. I got a few things I got to get done here. Kind of got to balance the kid stuff and the adult stuff at the same time. So
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. Not always easy being an adult. It kind of sucks
yeah,
sometimes. But you got to do it just so you can do the kids stuff too.
yeah.
So, you mentioned Sturgis. How many times have you been out?
We first year we went out there was 2021, and I wanted to go way before that. So trying to think when I bought my first Harley. I bought a 72 Ironhead Sportster, right side shift, and I had a love-hate relationship with that bike. And I was going to go. I had some buddies that were talking about going like, yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to ride to Sturgis. I was going to ride that old Ironhead from here to South Dakota. And
Wow.
I realized that was absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
First, I was young and didn't know anything. Now I'm a little older and still don't know anything.
No.
But, and Dad talked me out of it. He's like, you don't want to go out there. He said, that place is absolutely wild. And it's all right, whatever.
That's trying to talk you out of it?
Yeah. So then, so we're not big partiers. We're not. And then, so when I got my Sportster, I figured when I was a kid, Dad always had Ironhead Sportsters, and some things happened, and I mean, it is what it is. Anything can change tomorrow, and I might be in the same boat. But he had to sell his maroon one. I don't remember what year it was, 76 maybe or 74. Anyways, I remember him rebuilding that thing here, and I figured, well, I'd get another Harley. Dad would get one, and he never did. And then a few years later, that's when he got his Dyna, and I got my Night Train. Like, I had to get something bigger to keep up with him.
Right.
And that following year, he's like, you want to go to Sturgis and check it out? Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Let's go. We went out there. We just had the time of our life.
Yeah. You rode the Night Train out there?
What's that?
Did you ride the Night Train out there?
No, we hauled. Never officially made the ride yet.
No. But you've been
there. Yeah. So the first year we went out, of course, we had to see everything. So we ended up in 5 days, we rode 1,000 miles.
Right.
And I had ended up knocking a main bearing out of my bike while we was out there. So
wow.
And it was kind of one of those things. We got home, tore it apart. So then the next year we went out, Dad took his 73. He had it done. And of course I had my Night Train all hopped up and rebuilt, ready to go. And then, so we hauled out that year. And then the following year, we both took shovel heads out there. That was kind of cool.
That would be neat, yeah.
And then this last year, I was going to take that blue hardtail. And it didn't. Like I said, I ended up crashing that like a week or two before we were supposed to leave. It's like, all right, well, we're just gonna take a Night Train and just enjoy it.
Cool. Yeah, I have never been, so we're actually headed out this year.
Okay.
RJ and his gang, I guess, are planning on going out there. They're going to be there more for.
Yeah, that's what he said.
More for the rally.
Okay.
We're going to get out there like the week before and do our riding and then hit a couple days of the rally and then head for home. But we're riding out and riding back. So,
okay. Every year we've been out there, we've had a different experience. Like I said, the first year we went to ride. We went to see the sights. We went to ride the roads, all that. Right. And then the second year, we started meeting people. And then the year after that, it's like, all right, well, we got to meet our friends we met last year. And then it's just kind of grown from there. As far as meeting different people or getting back up, meeting up with the people we met last year that we've kept in touch with.
And
It's
I've kind of heard that that's kind of what happens, that once you go, you get kind of addicted to it
yeah,
almost, and you want to go
that's
back every year.
kind
So,
of kind of a good way to put it. I mean, it's one of those things like, oh yeah, we got to go out and see. I got to meet up with my buddy from Nebraska, or we got to meet
right.
up with Stephen Kelly. It's just like we've kind of got our Sturgis family, if you will, that we just hang out with every year.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So where did you guys stay? What was your, did you
We
have?
found a nice little campground. They've got awesome facilities, like shower house and everything. We stay about, is it 10 miles east of town in, it's Piedmont, but not quite. After the Ride Campground is the place.
Oh,
It's pretty reasonable. The guy that runs it's a real nice guy. He rides too. Yeah, it's just, we've met some people that they stay there every year. So it's kind of one of those things when we get there, like, oh, was Roger here this year? And so it's kind of
Sturgis
become one of
family.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. I'm looking forward to it. It ought to be a good time.
It should be pretty big this year. It's supposed to be. That's what I'm
Yeah.
hearing. It's
85th
85th
anniversary.
anniversary.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We've been talking about going now for 2 years, and we have a group of us that are a group of like 3 or 4 of us that are going to end up riding out. We're going to take the Badger across the lake and then leave out of Manitowoc and ride out. And then we got a group that's trailering out. So there'll be
that's the only downside. I don't know where you're located, but for us, the easiest way is to go through Chicago, and I hate going through Chicago.
That's what they're going to have to do. Where I'm located up in Ludington.
Okay.
And if you're familiar with that, it's the home of the Lake Michigan Car Ferry, the SS Badger. So it works pretty good for us. It's a 4-hour ride across the lake.
Okay.
But I have a local buddy here that went last year. He's going again this year. He said he did 550 miles the first day after crossing on the boat because you're chasing the sunset.
Okay.
So it works out good. You can ride till 9:00 at night or something like that, 9:30 at night.
Yeah.
And do 550 miles. That's pretty good. So that's our plan.
I mean, it takes you 4 hours to get across the lake.
Right.
You might make it through Chicago in an hour, or let's see, was it Thanksgiving time? Or when it was, I picked up so I'm kind of a night train guy, and they made a night train back in the 70s. The 71, 72, they were a boat tail bike. They were kind of ugly, but I found one project, and it was over on the west side of Chicago, and it was supposed to be a 4.5 hour trip from his house to my place on the way back, and it took me like 11 and a half.
Wow.
It took me 6 hours to get through Chicago. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, we do a Father's Day weekend trip called the Wild Hogs trip, all guys.
Okay.
We go all over the place. And last year, actually coming back, we came back through Chicago on the bikes, and it wasn't the worst experience I've had, but it wasn't the best either. Of course, traffic
anymore
at a
it's either bad or really bad.
And
I don't know that we've ever been through it, and it's been good.
It was, it wasn't fun. I liked it only a little bit better than going through St. Louis, but just a little bit.
Okay.
Traffic in St. Louis was nuts. And I had this semi truck. I felt like I was flat track racing with the semi. I'll put it that way. Like he was right there for like 5 miles. I felt like I reach out and tap on his fender to let him know I was there, kind of thing. But yeah, pretty crazy. But I'm definitely looking forward to the big showdown in August, the finale, meeting everyone. One Kick Nick is actually going to be up at Mama Tried next weekend, so I'm hoping I run into him.
Okay.
Maybe you'll be up there and I can run into you. I don't know if any of these other builders are up there.
Still up in the air about it.
Sounds like a few of them might be up there. So hopefully it'd be nice to meet you guys and give you my stickers and stuff that I have. So,
okay.
Otherwise you're going to have to wait till August.
August. I'm looking forward to that as well, just to see what everybody comes up with. It's kind of
right.
kind of a neat thing. You can see it in the magazines and on the page, whatever, as it goes along. But sometimes the pictures just don't do it justice until you see it in real life.
Right. Yeah, and I'm like I said, your bike's on the cover, February issue of Thunder Roads Magazine, Michigan. It looks pretty sweet, dude. I wish I would have been there to see it.
Well, I'm bringing it back this year for the other show.
Oh, all right. Cool.
So it'll be there this year.
Cool. Yeah, I like that.
I said something to Derek about it, and he made it sound like it was not optional. It had to come back.
Oh,
so, like,
yeah, right, reigning champion. It probably has to, you know.
Bring it back.
All right, man. Well, thanks for taking some time and talking to me.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate it. It was fun.
I look forward to meeting you in person and shaking your hand and seeing your bike. And who knows, maybe you'll win it again this year.
Yeah, we'll see. Anything's possible.
That is true. That is true.
I think it's going to be pretty tough competition this year.
I think it's going to be a real tough competition this year. But how's that go? You always seem to rise to the level of your competition. So I bet you there's going to be some pretty sweet bikes there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a good bunch of builders this year, and I know there's a few guys from last year that's doing some kind of off the wall stuff. One guy's building something that it wouldn't necessarily be my pick for something to go build, but I'm like, I can see that turning into something really cool.
See, I'm kind of interested to see what the Rice, the farming bikers, got going on.
Okay.
I'm curious to see what that's going to be. He's a pretty good guy. We've met a few times. So
I've watched a few of his videos.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. I was surprised to see him involved in it. So I'm really curious as to what he's going to come up with, and I'll get him on the podcast finally. Ha ha. All right, man. Well, have a good night, and thank you for coming on. And I will let you know and send you a link when this episode airs.
All righty.
But feel free to look us up on all the platforms where you might stream a podcast. We have about 94, 95 episodes out there.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
All right, man. Give us a like on Facebook, too.
All right.
You don't have Instagram, so I can't help you out there. But
yeah, kind of in the dark ages on the whole social media thing.
Sometimes I think that's not a bad thing.
There's times I regret having a cell phone.
Right. All right, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Take care.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Yep.
There you go, Frank Grimes. Look for his awesome creation in August at the winding up of the 2025 Wyld Stallions motorcycle build competition. He is the boy to beat, man. His bike is featured on this month's issue of Thunder Roads Magazine of Michigan, and it is pretty sweet. And you can pick that up like all over the place. And one place I know you can pick it up at is Jailhouse Bar in Manistee. So go ahead, get up there, check it out. And that's all I got for you this week, bikers. Stay tuned, because next week we'll have another exciting episode with another builder. Life is short, bikers. Get after it. Thanks for listening to the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast. Remember, bikers, life is short. Get after it.